first step during translational initiation is the disruption of the ribosome into its constitutive components, the large and small ribosomal subunits. The large ribosomal subunit is disengaged from the small ribosomal subunit thanks to the action of the eukaryotic initiation factor 3. This in turn allows other factors likely to already be bound to EIF3 to bind to the small ribosomal subunit. The next player to join the action is the methionine tRNA, which is blocked by the eukaryotic initiation factor 2 GTP. This factor is essential for the formation of the pre-initiation complex. Also, keep in mind that EIF2 is a GTPase, that is, an enzyme capable of hydrolyzing GTP, turning it into GDP. Notice how this large complex has formed in the absence of the messenger RNA. Notice also how the eukaryotic initiation factor 1A is occupying the A site in the small ribosomal subunit, therefore preventing the binding of other tRNAs. Notice also that the methionine tRNA is the only one that has the ability to bind to the P site directly. Also, it is important to realize how EIF1 helps stabilize the binding of EIF5, which in turn holds EIF2 in place. The next set of steps are occurring independently of the small ribosomal subunit, so let's forget about it for a second. The next stage starts with a cap messenger RNA. Soon after being put in place, the cap is recognized by the eukaryotic initiation factor 4E, also known as the cap binding protein. Next, EIF4G, the so-called grouping factor, is brought into play through a stable interaction with EIF4E. EIF4G, in turn, brings EIF4A, which is a helicase. However, EIF4A is not functional until when it recruits EIF4B, which acts as a cofactor needed for EIF4A's helicase activity. Now, it is time to bring back the 43S pre-initiation complex, the complex that was formed on the small ribosomal subunit. The 43S pre-initiation complex binds to the messenger RNA that has already been activated by binding of eukaryotic initiation factor 4 factors. The binding between the 43S pre-initiation complex and the activated messenger RNA is mediated by the binding of EIF3 and EIF4G. The resulting complex formed is now called the 48S pre-initiation complex. Now, the small ribosomal subunit is ready to start scanning the messenger RNA in search of a start codon located within the right sequence consensus, known as a Cossacks consensus sequence. When a start codon in a Cossacks consensus is found, the tRNA clicks in place, and this triggers a conformational change in EIF5, which in turn triggers the activation of the GTPase activity of EIF2. Therefore, EIF5 is the gap, that is, the GTPase activating protein for EIF2. At this point, EIF2 hydrolyzes GTP to GDP, and this triggers a conformational change in EIF2 that results in the disruption of the 48S pre-initiation complex. All factors fall off at this point except for the tRNA and EIF1A. EIF1A now serves as a binding surface for EIF5B GTP, which is another GTPase. EIF5B GTP then allows for the binding of the large ribosomal subunit. And the binding of the large ribosomal subunit in turn triggers the GTPase activity of EIF5B, which then hydrolyzes GTP, and this triggers a conformational change in EIF5B, which is similar to that affecting EIF2. EIF5B then falls off, leaving the A site open and ready for the binding of the next tRNA. At this point, translation has initiated, and once the next tRNA comes in, elongation will start.